Folks, this is Mountainman coming to you from parts unknown. I hope I get people in the chat so I can see what kind of signal I got. I might have to rearrange. I don't know what kind of signal I got. But anyway, who we got on the picture there? We got the bum of the week. Been denied by the Supreme Court. They keep getting smacked down. And good for them all. Good for them all. I've gone over my 30 seconds so I can put up stuff that's a little more provocative. I had this picture up a while back, and I know some people put this up in on Truth Social, and I said, man, I put that up last year, but that's okay. I'll put it up again now. So I went and got a screenshot, and there you go. When they don't get their way, they get dangerous. So I've been going over a minute, and I'm hoping my signal is clear. And if you all can let me know if I got a 5x5, I've got to make some adjustments here in my broadcast. We shall see. Hi, Sandy. How you doing? Tennessee. How you doing, Gary? Nice to see you all. And let me know if I've got a steady signal and coming through smooth, because I got about, oh my gosh, over a dozen videos I'm going to play for you all tonight. So I can make a little adjustment if you don't mind listening to me clunk around a little bit, moving stuff. But if my broadcast is stable, Sandy says I got a 5x5. And Susie's here, pink hand waving. That's good. That's good. Well, if I have problems, let me know if the broadcast breaks up a little bit, or if I don't come in clear. So, and let's see. Oh, good. I'm getting 5x5s. Yeah, very soon, Gary. People will know. Mary, how you doing? B-Dog, Lucy. That's good. Everybody's coming in. I talked while people are coming in. I'll play this little video for you, and if it disappears after I'm live, it's because I got a copyright strike. But I did make a comment in the middle, and I'll make a comment at the end. But this is a video I was telling you all about. Let me preface it with this right here. This little bit of news people aren't talking about, and ties into stuff I've been talking about in the past. New York Post, when Nikki comes in, this is another Michigan story. Michigan parents sue school district for using male pronouns, different name for daughter. So I said lawfare cuts both ways. That sword cuts both ways. And the story is she is an autistic girl, and unbeknownst to her parents, they were sending her, after she got to school, they started referring to her in a male name and actually having her change her outfit. Yes, Merry Christmas to you, Lucy. Hi, William. So they're suing, and that ties into the story we talked about, oh gosh, a couple of years ago, and I brought it up in the past, the Loudoun County school district that had a self-identified switcheroo person, and they did some things, and I said, it's time to start suing the parents who encourage their children to behave that way for negligent parenting, and also the school system. So we're starting to see that come through. So here's that video I was talking about last night. This is on, I call it Net Afflicted. Net Afflicted. And it's about the two daddies, right? And a little boy. I'll go ahead and play it for you. Are. So this has to be criminalized, doing this to young children. That is my opinion. But anyway, I'll keep playing it so you don't miss any parts of this nice little children's song.
All the things you like to do. Just be you.
Just be me.
Yeah, that's instead of Elmo and Oscar the Grouch in a trash pail, this is what Netflix wants them to watch. I know it's nauseating, but there you have it. Hi, Andrew. How you doing? Nice to see you. Lone Wolf, how you doing? Melinda. So, anyway, I'm just seeing what's going on. Okay. Yeah, Andrew, that's what I said. WT. I say WTH. But I tell you what, here's a video I had. I wasn't doing a picture show, so I couldn't play it. But I had this in my studio for about 3 days, and I had to have my videos uploaded to Bumble because I had over half a dozen full-length videos, and I simply just don't have the space. So I was able to free that up. Anyway, this is a local news station that was reporting on the names with the Epsteinio situation. So I'll play it. So the thing is, it's getting in the mainstream storyline. We've been talking about Epstein for years. We've been talking about the situation with Andrew and the temple and what's underground at the temple, all that stuff for years. There are so many millions of people that are just now finding out about it. But anyway, it's kind of soft pedaled, but people are going to perk their ears up and want to know more. I'll go ahead and play for you.
At the federal courthouse here in Lower Manhattan, and this is where Judge Loretta Preska has ordered that January 1st release date of more than 170 names associated with a civil lawsuit that was settled some time ago here. But many of those names that will be released are Jeffrey Epstein's close friends, associates, and some of his victims. Now, the judge is also allowing those individuals who would like to keep their names concealed or redacted to file an appeal to make their case before the release of those names in less than 2 weeks. Now, many of those names that will come out certainly are known and notable, including former presidents, but they are all part of a now settled civil lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell brought by Virginia Giuffre. Now, Giuffre accused Maxwell of helping Epstein abuse her by arranging travel plans along with setting up meeting times and places around the world to facilitate her sexual abuse. Maxwell is now serving 20 years in a federal prison after she was convicted in 2021 for her role in a scheme to sexually exploit and abuse multiple teenage girls with Epstein over a 10-year period. Now, Epstein died by suicide in a Manhattan federal jail in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. The judge also noting in her order that some of the names that will be released have already been revealed because some of those individuals have spoken publicly about their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Meanwhile, at least 11 names will not be released, including 8 people who have been identified as minor victims of sexual abuse. Last night on Banfield, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Josh Schiffer talked about why some people are desperately fighting to have their names redacted.
So there's a lot of reasons someone wouldn't want their name associated with someone whose name is literally everything bad in high society and regular society for that matter. So if you were someone of particular current relevant importance, think someone big in finance, think someone big in politics. Jeffrey Epstein knew everyone. When you said earlier he palled around with royalty.
Now, Virginia Giuffre also has accused Britain's Prince Andrew of sexually assaulting her when she was 17 years old and being sexually trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. Both Prince Andrew and Epstein were very known associates. Now, Prince Andrew has denied those claims. However, he did agree to pay Giuffre a multi-million-dollar settlement. Adrian.
So you got this kind of stuff coming on the regular news, a regular reporter, and it wasn't affiliated with Fox. I believe this replay was done on C, and the rest of it is NN. So I see a lot of Merry Christmases out there. Merry Christmas to anybody, everybody out there. So, yeah, I really appreciate all the Christmas wishes and everybody greeting each other with Christmas cheer. And we can walk around and say that. What's that story that you say? Without fear or favor. Ha ha ha. So yeah, indoctrinational thinking, that previous video. Yes, indeed. Hi, Zoe. Cheryl, how you doing? Let's see if I missed anybody. Wanda said, well, this may not come out now. Well, I heard there's one lady that was, I think she was called Jane Doe number 107, I think, is begging the judge not to let her name out because, if I remember correctly, she said she was, quote, from or paraphrase, she was from a country with a very conservative culture. I'll put it that way. I don't think she's trying to hide any criminality. I just don't think she wants to be persecuted in whatever country she is in. So we'll see what the judge does with that. But other than that, I think the names are going to come out the first week of January. Very close. Very close. Wally World may be buying. What was that? Wait a second. These chats jump around a little bit on me. Oh, really? So Wally World's going to be allowing people to buy their, grocery stores used to do that. You could run up a tab at the grocery store, and at the end of the month, they would bill you. And that's, a lot of grocery stores used to deliver. Yeah, Tennessee hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it, folks. It even though they're suppressing me, it lets the word get out. And even if somebody gives me a thumbs down, that helps too, Hi, Angel. How you doing? Merry Christmas to you. Hi, Nikki. There you are. I had a story about Michigan, so you got to go to the beginning. And, well, I'll just put it up for you real quick. It's in your stomping ground. This couple here is suing their school district for taking their autistic child, secretly giving them a male name and dressing them inappropriately. So here's another little story. I mean, these people, it's a, you could say war, conflict, whatever, with Christianity. And these other religions are going to see that eventually it's going to come their way too. Proposed New York legislation would force Chick-fil-A to remain open on Sundays. I say Chick-fil-A. Ha ha ha. A new bill announced in New York state legislature known as the Rest Stop Restaurant Act would require that all businesses operating in the New York, I guess, expressway or highway or whatever, have to be open on Sundays. And, what is it with these people? They should be glad that this founder had the gumption to come up with a product, to think of a affordable franchise for other people to get involved in and provide reputable jobs for people. They can't be grateful for that. Just like with the way they're attacking Trump. He builds world-class properties, world-class, and, treats his employees very well, pays as he said, over $300 million in taxes. Well, attack him and take his property. Judge and Goron will be fortunate if they simply say that he is incompetent or has a mental defect and remove him from the bench, because the alternative is that he is behaving knowingly in a criminal manner or subversive of manner as far as the election goes. So we'll see how that turns out for Engoron and all these other boneheads that are showing their cards. Yeah, Disney is closing some of their places. Well, Tennessee, they closed that. Word is they had close to $1 billion tied up in that Star Wars hotel. And I had some stories on them, but it was almost kind of off topic for what we discussed. Till I started saying that along with Twitter, or after infiltration of Twitter, this collapse of Disney is going to be almost as big as the takeover of Twitter, because it's so influential in our culture, and they own so many different other assets like ABC News, and we've exposed ABC News for suppressing the Epstein story, and for ABC News producers being involved in the J6 footage that was used by the phony committee, and also helping Nancy Pelosi produce her BS documentary. So, Disney is struggling, and Trump called out by name Ike Perlmutter. He's one of the two. Well, there's really three big guys that are going to come in and put the kibosh on them. But here's another story that was breaking. Patricia Dixon put this out. Jill Biden, press secretary, fired after taking GAY hookups to president's secure floor during NATO summit. So, and this was the second time it happened. I mean, taking strange men in the same hotel. Well, here's Jesse Waters did a little story on that and some other things. Let me see if I can find that. Where are you, Jesse? I think I've got him in here. Jesse Wawa. Oh, my. Well, this might be it, this TikTok video. These are tough. The volume's tough on them. If it's a different video, I'll clarify it when it's done. But yeah, another scandal. We'll see how this works. Wrong one. Sorry, folks. Let me find out. What did I do with that? Here we go. Sorry about that. A technical difficulty. I got to get that thing I put on my screen. Technical difficulties. Republican colleagues say Republicans say colleagues compromise over Epstein flight logs, but he also mentions the other scandals at the White House.
Trans flashers, twerking mascots, cocaine cubbies, tax cheats, first family love childs, gay porn videos, dog bites, and cross-dressing nuke gurus who steal luggage at airports. It's an orgy of blackmail opportunity, and it just happened again. Dr. Jill Biden's press secretary was forced to resign for inviting strange foreign men into his hotel room during last year's NATO summit. According to the Daily Mail, Michael LaRosa, who is gay, tried bringing his dates into the secure area where the Bidens were staying, and he got caught. Secret Service sources said he did it twice, and it was the last straw. LaRosa spoke to the Daily Mail and said, it's only once, just for a nightcap. And if you work for the president and you're on foreign soil at a NATO summit, which is already swimming with spies, you don't invite strange men back to your hotel room past midnight. It's a setup. This is espionage 101. Trump had a piece of paper locked up in his private resort guarded by Secret Service, but foreign spies are sleeping with the First Lady's staff overseas in the same hotel as the president? Come on. The way the country's running, we should assume the politicians are being sexually blackmailed. How can you explain the open border or the record spending and all the BS that comes out of that town? Well, Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee says sexual blackmail in the House, just a part of the deal.
It's how it works. You're visiting, you're out of the country or out of town, or you're in a motel or bar in D.C. and some whatever you're into, women or men or whatever, comes up and they're very attractive and they're laughing at your jokes and you're buying them a drink. Next thing you know, you're in the motel room with them naked, and next thing you know, you're about to make a key vote, and what happens? Some well-dressed person comes up and whispers in your ear, "Hey man, there's tapes out on you. Were you in a motel room on whatever with whoever?" And then you're like, "Uh-oh," and said, "You really ought not be voting for this thing."
Wow, I only thought there was like one Swalwell. Turns out there's dozens.
Wow, he put it out there how it works. They get a videotape of these characters that are supposed to be lawmakers, and a well-dressed person comes up and says, "Hey, got a video here. Remember when you were in that hotel room with Fang Fang?" So just trickling out, and it's going to come out more and more. I think we're going to get through this Christmas season. I was thinking that somebody like John Kerry, there would be an announcement that he was arrested, or, somebody that they haven't been putting in the spotlight too much, but been a big time criminal as far as foreign affairs and interference with the election over Christmas. Just like we heard the rumor from what's his name, the lawyer that had everybody going. I can't remember his name right now, but he's talking about Adam Schiff having a bad Christmas. I thought, well, maybe we hear something about John Kerry, but hey, maybe we're just going to go through and have a peaceful, calm Christmas and charge our batteries up for all the stuff that's going to be coming out. And watching our friends wake up is the thing. Remember how it was with all this garbage, what we had to endure, what President Trump had to endure, and with Mueller time, this is it. The walls are closing in, and they're trying to make their impeachment case against Trump. Well, here's this clip is here. I'll play the short clip first. This is what everybody was waiting for, Robert Mueller. This is the culmination of a special counsel, $30+ million being spent, all the news shows night after night after night after night. Walls are closing in on Donald Trump. It's going to be over for him. He's a horrible person. He needs to be kicked out. Blah, 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 blah. Well, the big day came. Robert Mueller testifying. Here we go.
Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief? So help you God. Let the record show the witness answered the affirmative. Thank you, and please be seated.
Since closing the special counsel's office in May of 2019, have you conducted any additional interviews or obtained any new information in your role as special counsel?
Well, when it came to we needed to, I would say the statement would be that if you look at the language, I would say could you repeat that, please?
Since closing the special counsel's office in May of 2019, have you conducted any additional interviews or obtained any new information in your role as special counsel?
That went a little fast for me.
Okay. And you can confirm you're no longer special counsel, correct?
Well, I would, the finding indicates that the president, it would be Trump.
We will take a very brief 5-minute break.
Ha ha ha. This witch hunt is currently offline. So that is basically what it boiled down to. But I want to remind you all about Mueller. He was summoned to the White House ostensibly to become the new FBI director for, I think it was the third or fourth time, which was not possible because he'd already been FBI director beyond the time statute allows. But remember Donald Trump saying he felt he had an angel in the room. When the Mueller report was being finally crafted, he said he had 15 or 16 people that couldn't stand him and one angel in the room. And Mueller is a Marine, was a Marine. And he probably got some dirt on his hands, but I believe he was summoned in. And next thing you know, he was the special counsel. And we'll find out who the angel in the room was. But the devil in the room, and I've talked about him many times. Let me see. Devin Nunes reposted this right here. Right here. What Joe Dan Gorman said, communist, Weissman. People died in the Civil War, so leaders like Trump could be banned from the ballot. He's the one I've referred to in the past as Mr. Sweaty Man. And I believe he is going to pay a heavy price when this is all over with for his actions. But he was a shadow man. You always heard his name during Trump's term in office. You kept hearing about him being the motivational force behind a lot of this phony garbage that was thrown at Trump all through his presidency. Now he's forced into the light. He's got to come out and give interviews. And here he is on a news program. This starts out with the presenter, as they say over in the UK, talking about how Trump should be ashamed of himself for saying that the current president is in illegitimately. The nerve she had to say that, because that's all they said after 2016. All they said after 2016. But listen to this nonsense. And the point is that, now this is CNN. The point is that even the people watching this, they may not know what I'm talking about him being a shadow influencer, about him actively subverting Trump's administration. They don't know any of that. But what the mainstream media is being forced to report versus what this clown is trying to say, it's got to wake people up. But I'll go ahead and play it for you.
Irony that you have the former president of the United States who's started his campaign
by questioning the eligibility of another president of the United States.
So the whole idea, there's just birtherism based on a lie.
And, a racist lie.
And absolutely, a racist lie, but goes to the idea that he would be disqualified, under the Constitution from running. So this is not new. It is true that...
Talking about Barack Obama, that Trump, you heard what the word they used that I can't use, RACIST, okay? We're saying that about Obama. And it's going to come out about Joe Arpaio's investigation on the birth certificate. But he is They're talking about Trump's ineligibility. We'll see.
This provision of the Constitution is new to lots of people because we've never been in a situation where you could have somebody running for office who engaged in insurrection or rebellion. What's remarkable to me is that the story isn't really the unanimous finding in the Colorado case, because you had no one dissenting on the issue of did he do it. No one was saying, oh, no, this was insufficient proof. There were lots of procedural issues, and I don't mean to minimize them, that the dissent raised. But there was a district court finding and there was a majority opinion with no dissents on the fact that the leading contender for the Republican nomination had done what we had a civil war about. And the reason for this amendment was because after the Civil War, people said, if you've engaged in this kind of conduct, you cannot be any longer in the president, the vice president, or any federal position. So this is historically really important in terms of what many people died for in this country. And it's just not a terribly smart approach to pander to that kind of speculation and foment that kind of thinking, instead of talking about the real issues in the case. There really are significant issues that the Supreme Court will have to address. One of them is not the speculation about, isn't the Biden administration doing this to sort of engage in civil unrest, which was very much what people said Donald Trump was doing.
Right. What do you even call?
So he's got to get out there and fast talk and double talk, because his clock is ticking, and it's going to be shown that he was involved. I put him up, the tweets that were taken down by President Trump. I put them up before, and I see on True Social people put up these two tweets. These two tweets. Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful at 1:38 p.m. I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. 2:13 p.m. I see these tweets getting put up all the time. They were taken down at the direction of the FBI, DHS, and the DNI, because the message didn't fit with the narrative they wanted to sell. But it's worse than that. I think this person was involved, that I just played on the screen, with taking it down so they could set him up for these charges. But I've also pointed out that people neglect this other tweet here. I want to put them both all on the screen side by side so they can all be shown. And what Trump said, these are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and peace. Remember this day forever. Not only that, but I will play it in a future video I have in my studio somewhere. An actual video where Trump was shown standing outside telling everyone the same thing this other tweet says. All that media was taken down surreptitiously at the direction of people who were defying the President of the United States, blocking his authorized proclamations, necessary information that people deserve to hear. They took it down, and Weissman is one of the people, and you will see him have to answer for that. Just like with this situation. Remember Ruby Freeman? I'd probably get in trouble for even saying that name, but she got the Medal of Freedom from Biden. The Medal of Freedom. So here we saw it with our own eyes. They say Rudy Giuliani is filing bankruptcy. because of that judgment that was awarded, they requested an accelerated collection of that judgment. And allegedly, I will see, this judge supposedly granted the plaintiffs, of course, Ruby and her daughter, the ability to start seizing his assets before any appeals are heard, which, I'm still of a mind, as I've been saying for months, that we're in a phase where we're cleaning out the judiciary, we're identifying Marxist, communist elements, subversive elements, or for them, the best case scenario is incompetent boobs. I'd rather be having a tribunal call me an incompetent boob and remove me from office than say that I was purposefully subverting or defrauding this country. So that's where we're at, folks. But we all saw it, and we're going to see it again and again in the future. And I do want to reiterate that Rudy Giuliani said he did not want to testify. He didn't want to drag the court case out. One, because he knew it was, no matter what he did, he could have stood on his head and whistled Dixie. No matter what he did, they were going to rule against him. So why drag it out? Why spend the extra money? Go ahead toward the judgment. But he also said something very telling. He said that Ruby had been through enough. What did he mean by that? He's already interviewed the prosecutor who was forcibly removed by Joe Biden from Ukraine, whom an assassination attempt was made on, okay? And we already heard Joe Biden threaten the former president of Ukraine, telling him what to do with Privatbank for his own personal safety. So he was given a hint right there, talking about Ruby Freeman, because she said she wanted to cooperate. That all got shut down. I'm sure she got surrounded by attorneys and leg breakers and went down the path she went down. So we'll see how that all shakes out. So let me check the chats. I haven't been watching chats in a while. So, for people that are new to this situation in the world, I hope that the information I'm putting out, everything I'm saying, I've seen with my own eyes. I've been following this a long time. Many people in the chats know exactly what I'm talking about. But we're recapping this history that we're all walking down a road of history together in truly biblical times. And how you doing, Roy? Roy said Mueller fell apart like a cheap suit. Yeah, he did. Hi, Kicking Bird Sin. How you doing? Pappy Two Bears, the truth does not care. That's right, the truth doesn't care. But if you have eyes to see with and ears to hear with. Hi, Brittany. How you doing? Hi, Steve. I tell you, it is such a practice. The pundits, they all practice the same garbage. 4 a.m. talking points. Hi, Ronald. Hi, Ken. Roberto, how you doing? Well, let me play you this little collage of practice BS. You know, why we got to take it easy on the people who are still talking the media line, because what they're exposed to a very sophisticated, demonic word twisting I mean, just like a cartoon I played. Oh, it's so nice. You got, you be you, little boy. And we'll just put this tiara in your closet and this dress in your closet. You be you. But anyway, here, let me find that clip. It's got Rachel Madcow in there. Now, I'm going to give you a little heads up. Kind of count on your fingers. And don't, really think about it. If you know some of the people in this clip are what I've talked about, criminal prosecution and civil prosecution, okay? Some people are going to be facing the music in a civil suit, like the reporters that badmouth Nick Sandman. They weren't doing things malicious. They were ignorant and negligent. And then there are people who are purposefully trying to defraud the American people and purposefully trying to disrupt and subvert a duly elected government, right? Duly elected presidency. So kind of count on your fingers in this clip how many people you see that are going to have criminal problems. And I'll go ahead and say it right off the bat. If you look at this one on the screen is criminal. Okay, so that's one. I got my thumb up in the air. Okay, speaking of that, Nikki said if you hadn't already, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and share. So anyway, let me go ahead and play this, and I'll tell you how many I think for sure in this clip are criminal. And the rest are going to pay in a civil lawsuits or loss of their job or whatever. So, hey, let's start counting and listen to the practiced, parroted Mockingbird talking points.
Right attorney general in position to do it, we now know they really have been trying to gin up criminal prosecutions and criminal investigations into the president's perceived enemies, politically motivated persecution, right? Courtesy of Bill Barr. I'll roll in the FBI on you. That's how banana republics work, right?
The home of the 45th president of the United States has been raided by the FBI.
Mr. Trump is using the Justice Department to go after his perceived enemies. I feel worried about the prospect of the Justice Department being used as a tool of this president or any. In our little banana republic, any capable prosecutor can get a grand jury to hand down an indictment of something as innocent as a ham sandwich.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump.
Breaking news on former President Trump. He's been indicted for the 4th time in 5 months.
Bill Barr, on the president's behalf, is weaponizing the Justice Department to go after the president's enemies. When you win an election, you don't seek to just prosecute the losing side.
The president using the Justice Department as a weapon to get what he wants.
Department of Justice is totally politicized.
Sticking the Department of Justice on political opponents, threatening to imprison his political rival, Banana Republic style.
Trying to exact revenge against all of his enemies, tin pot dictator in a banana republic.
Is acting more like a banana republic dictator.
He's using government resources to go after his political opponents.
Essentially, we are a banana republic.
There's Mr. Sweaty Man Weissman, but like the one before, Jean Pierre, whatever, I don't think they're going to get her criminally. She's just a ignorant ass, okay? And, it's not criminal to be an ignorant ass. But anyway, I'm up to 5 already. So let it keep playing.
That we are seeking to have a bogus and criminal investigation into a political opponent.
And that's using the Department of Justice to also target Trump's political opponent for nefarious reasons. This is a massive abuse of power and a betrayal of our values.
The President of the United States is targeting a family member of a political opponent. This is a type of thing that happens in a banana republic.
And trying to take out a political rival in Joe Biden.
Criminally investigating an American political rival, someone the president is worried about losing to in the next election.
To investigate my principal opponent or a principal opponent in the upcoming election. Houston, we have a problem.
Don't you think that's something that should be investigated when the incumbent political party opens a counterintelligence investigation on the candidate of the opposing party?
We know Trump is itching to politicize the Justice Department, and the Attorney General has been super shady.
The president is weaponizing the Department of Justice.
Now they're all attacking Bill Barr in these clips. I'm up for certain, not speculation. I'm up to 7 right now. And John Podesta was one of them. We've been hearing about that. And I want to thank Gary for going to buy me a coffee, helping me and Sadie out. Have a nice Christmas. I do appreciate it. I got a buy me a coffee link. No, I don't have a link. I'm sorry. I have. You go to buy me a coffee and put in code word Mountainman. Nikki might be putting a link in the chats, but thank you, Gary, and Merry Christmas to you and everybody else who has helped me with buy me a coffee. But I'm up to 7 right now. Podesta for sure. So anyway, let it keep playing.
Justice to bring cases against his enemies. The Department of Justice is in an existential crisis.
Again, it's yet another example of the Justice Department basically losing all of its independence in this administration.
This is now about corrupting the next election. And for me, this was crossing the red line.
A president who is actively trying to potentially steal the upcoming election,
but to try to take out a political rival. The end goal being 2020.
Donald Trump and his attorney general are using the Justice Department. The only difference between this and a banana republic is that Trump does not eat fruit.
The 2020 election is really the last chance we have to stop our system from fully sliding into a corrupt banana republic.
Bill Barr has done everything that Donald Trump has wanted him to do. Yeah, we're living in a banana republic right now.
When you start using the Justice Department to go after your enemies, that's very, very dangerous.
Donald Trump is using the Department of Justice to go after.
That's a big one right there. I think this may be more, but this one here is going to face the ultimate price unless he is big time cooperating. I don't mean to keep interrupting, but this is all through 2019 and 2020 leading up to the election. You talk about interference, and some of these people are going on there. They're just talking heads that get handed a script and they parrot the same words you're hearing. I'll let it finish out.
His enemies in any way that he can.
Having the head of the chief federal law enforcement agency essentially working on his behalf to investigate a political rival.
To investigate the family of a political opponent, basically banana republic behavior.
We're no better than some, some banana republic.
And he's using the abuse of power and every element of the presidency to try to do something to smear me.
We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power if he does run.
So there you have it, folks. That's just a small example. And, I know it played for a long time, but the regular people are going to be wanting to see this stuff instead of wrinkling their nose when people say anything in defense of Trump. So clips like that are important. And I do have to interject myself because, I copyright, but I make sure that the creator gets to have their name up there. Grabian. Okay. So here's a fun little clip that Devin Nunes put up. Here's a guy in the New York subway. Okay. He's looking forward to Christmas coming. Just a little clip to put everybody in the Christmas spirit. He dressed up like a Christmas tree and was walking around the subways, which was pretty fun, pretty nice. But anyway, you know, for some people, it might be hard to go into Christmas because of what's happening and what Trump's going through and what we've been through and what we're afraid of in the future. But I have to say that for the most part, I think more people from our side of the fence are starting to feel the comfort of truth, okay? When you start seeing it come out and you see other people coming to agree with you, it's comforting. And I think this is not the best situation, but it is probably one of the most comfortable Christmases we've gone through in a long time, knowing that the truth will be coming out. And here's a young creator that was on TikTok. And I got another video after this, which is important to show that the left knows they're losing minorities. They're starting to put out this in California, and Kathy Hochul putting out propositions and bills for reparations, trying to pull black people back in to the Democrat Party. I think it's a lot worse than 20% leaving the Democrat Party going to Trump. I think it's going to be a heck of a lot more than that. But let me play this young man here.
Couldn't pay me to vote for a Democrat. Local, state, federal elections, I don't care what it is. You couldn't pay me to vote for one. You know why? Because they know that we, and I mean people whose skin color look like mine, they know that we vote party over interest. So after we vote, what do? They don't need us for anything. That's what they do, year after year after year. I'm from Baltimore, and I go home at least twice a year to see family. Same abandoned homes, same crime rate. We haven't had a Republican mayor since the 60s. And look at our environment. The same can be said for Memphis. The same can be said for St. Louis. The same can be said for Detroit. The same can be said for a lot of these cities all over this country that have been led down the toilet by Democrats for decades. Stop voting party over interest and vote interest over party.
Yep, he's specifically calling out Democrats. And I mean, what is it getting down to? Here's a good meme right here. I wish Democrats hated S3X offenders as much as they hated gun owners. Okay, what is it getting down to where you got all these people carrying on like they carried on in the Senate building and disgraceful acts that we see more and more of all the time? Destruction, children being led astray, trying to remove people's rights, claiming that they're protecting people's rights. All these falsehoods are starting to look so ridiculous. Here is an older gentleman out of Chicago who's been an activist for decades in Chicago. Now, he's got kind of a crazy suit on, and they cut him off at the very end, but he gets his point across mostly. But you're talking about people who have been activists since Martin Luther King, okay? People that, and another point I'm going to bring up is Jesse Jackson. You haven't heard anything out of him. Might he pop out at the opportune time? I don't know how his health is. He used to do the Rainbow Coalition. He used to rhyme words, and he was an aggravating liberal, but he was nothing compared to the garbage they're putting out now. But his Rainbow Coalition was for different races and cultures to have unity. Not anything like they're doing with the Rainbow Coalition now. But this guy that you're going to see now has been with since, who knows, the 60s, 70s, with people like Jackson, who has been very, very quiet. But anyway, let me play this guy right here.
Anti-immigrant, illegal, call ICE, send them all back, waiting across the Rio Grande and don't obey our immigration and naturalization laws. And to see another group come over here is disgraceful. It is un-American. And these rules that you have, the rules, who made these rules? When did our ultimate vote for these rules? When did the people have time to participate in making these rules? And one of you all came over to me, Mr. Blakemore, we got little children. What about the black children in the ghetto? We got to make a future for them. These others will move them out, move us out, and they come in to compete with jobs, goods, and contracts and service. Historian Carl Anderson said that they have a negative effect on the black community. I'm strictly advocating for black people and call ICE on them. Trump, come in here, clean this mess up. The most corrupt city in the United States is the city of Chicago, and that's not my...
Thank you, Mr. Blakemore, for your comments.
He said, Trump, come in here and clean this mess up. And you heard him say it was the most corrupt city is the city of Chicago. Now, he did mention it, that a lot of the stuff that they're pushing through, he said nobody ever notified us about votes to approve these things. How did these things get through? He was a little hard to understand, but that's happened probably in your own local government. They have hearings, they bury the notification in the newspaper, hold them at odd hours, meetings where people are at work. They pull all kinds of tricks to get their garbage through at the local level, because a lot of these people have been imported and installed. And you'll have local officials who have gone to Stanford, gone to Columbia, gone to these left-leaning, outright Marxist entities and colleges. Now, here's a clip that Donald Trump put up, and I'm going to give a shout-out to the great Rush Limbaugh. And he predicted it. Now, this clip here, I believe he had less than a week to live. He was struggling with his, he had lung cancer. And we saw Trump give him the Medal of Freedom. And it's such a shame that Ruby Freeman and her daughter got the same treatment from Biden. But anyway, let me play how perceptive Rush was right up to his last days.
Desperately want it codified that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump.
We came before Trump, And even without Trump, we're going to continue. We're going to go on. And I tell you, I used to listen to Rush quite a bit, Mark Levin quite a bit. And wow, you know, looking back, they were so brave. And I'm glad I finally got myself in gear to be able to get up and start putting things out the way they are. And I remember when Rush Limbaugh, he did a broadcast after the first Romney-Obama debate. He was so excited, and because Romney did very well. But then, just like Trump said, Romney folded like a cheap chair and laid down and gave up. And he asked him, why? Why did you give up like that? And we never got an answer. Maybe we will when he faces his, I'll say the word, retribution. Because I saw an article, a report, where they are claiming that Trump is looking for revenge. I remember the day after Trump first used the term retribution, I said, it is much, much different than revenge. I said, revenge is mine, saith the Lord. Okay, it is not for man to put out revenge. Okay, that would be for men to do an evil thing. Okay, God is the ultimate justice. He knows what the right level of revenge is to be meted out. We don't have the ability to use revenge for anything other than our own satisfaction. Okay? Retribution, however, is a lawful term. It is paying back society. I'll tell you something I've been watching called a channel called Mandoo, Mandoo. And what he puts out are videos of parole hearings. And you watch the parole board question people who are asking to be paroled out of prison. And you see all kinds of offenders. You see people who've been in jail for 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, 15 years, trying to get out early. And they discuss their offenses and what they've done while they were in jail, how they hopefully progressed, and they hear from the victims, okay? It is very interesting. But one of the first times I was listening, one of the parole board members used the term retribution. He said, I don't think you have suffered the requisite retribution that is owed by you to society. In other words, you got come back in 24 months. Maybe we'll talk then. But for what you did, the retribution has not been met, not satisfactory. So that's an important thing, because just in the last couple of days, the mainstream Mockingbird media has erased the word retribution, erased and replaced with revenge. And I knew they were going to do that. That's why I went out of the lane there and started talking about the difference between revenge and retribution. Retribution is just. It is in the law. It is owed. And anyway, speaking of Obama, here we have talk about pulling strings. Obama lobbied to keep Claudine Gay as Harvard president despite anti-Semitism, plagiarism allegations. Well, we know there's a lot more than that wrong with this person, this diversity hire for Harvard with their $40 billion endowment, which is going to be confiscated by the Trump administration or whichever administration. I'm putting that caveat in, follows this illegal situation we're dealing with now. And let me show you these reports. Talk about the walls closing in, okay? Biden pressured Garland to prosecute Trump, resurfaced report says. President Joe Biden pressured AG Merrick Garland in 2022 to prosecute former President Donald Trump, a resurfaced New York Times report says. We may find out that some of these people, we were told, patriots have been installed in positions of trust. Garland might be gathering information and documenting people that are intimidating him or threatening him. We know that Trump, even though he insulted Barr and Barr said bad things about Trump, back forth, that's part of the show. But we're going to get prima facie hard evidence, okay? And sometimes it's the only way to get it, is to have people experience. Trump said Bill Barr was terrified. Okay, he said that word more than once, terrified. And then he played it off as if he was only afraid of impeachment. We shall see. I believe we shall see. And here we have exclusive. Trump, GOP drafting bills to remove Biden from ballots in Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania. If Biden is removed from the ballots, the president will have difficulty winning the Democratic primary and presidential election. Well, I'm a little up in the air about this. I've said in the past, they are stuck with Biden, okay? He is the doggy do on the bottom of their shoe, and they're coming to the party, okay, with dog do in their shoe. Don't help them scrape it off. But we'll see. We'll see. Nothing's going to happen without it being part of the program, okay? Now, here's an important article. I see some people dropping off. I'm going over my hour and so many minutes because I won't be broadcasting again probably till Tuesday unless something big happens, right? Because Christmas is here, folks. We got to remember the reason for the season, okay? Whatever situations are, I call it a dot on the line of history. The United States is a small dot on the line of history. And whatever sufferings and anxieties we're going through, remind yourself that technologically, physical comforts, the ability to communicate and to reach out to friends and loved ones is at the highest point ever in human civilization. In other words, we ain't got it that bad, It's not like we're behind a stone wall with the enemy banging it down with very foul intent coming to get us and nowhere to go, which is what happened twice with the temple in Jerusalem and countless other civilizations. So remember the reason for the season. Remember, like what I had said about the movie that Mel Gibson made, the Apocalypto. You had people living in the jungle and being taken slaves and getting drug up to the top of a temple. And what saved them at the end? What saved that civilization and caused it to change was the crucifix landing on the shores, okay? And a new spiritual offering for people other than turtle gods and holding beating hearts up to the sun, okay? Anyway, this is an important article because the Wall Street Journal goes to a lot of people. It goes to a lot of normal people. And they are referring to Trump one of the few times we have to admit, one of the few times we've seen the media refer to him as President Trump. And they don't say may not. They say cannot be disqualified. Trump put it on Truth Social, the whole article, if you want to see it. Former U.S. Attorney General Michael Mukasey's op-ed describes how President Trump cannot be disqualified. So the monopoly of the message is being chipped away, and that is the way he deserves to be referred to, and has always been deserved of the reference Mr. President, even after he's out of office. That is a title that you hold. So it seems like something small, but I'm putting it out there. It's not small, okay? People are going to be rehabilitated in their thinking. So Trump also put this out. If you're going to the Iowa caucuses, okay, it's 3 weeks away, less than that, 2.5 weeks. If the Republican primary were held today, this is Iowa polls. Donald Trump is pushing 80%. You have to feel like an idiot if you're going for anybody else besides Trump. You have to start feeling that you're wasting your flipping time. Okay? I like Vivek in the mix. A lot of people do, because he knows he's not going to win. Okay? He can do whatever he wants. He's saying whatever he wants. He's hitting them right between the eyes. I enjoy that. We're going to see a lot more of it. But at some point, Vivek is going to say, hey, I'm out, and I fully support Trump, and he's going to be doing speaking engagements, and he's going to be even more spunky and irreverent to the old message than he is now. So we'll see how it goes, but he's pushing 80%. So, hi, CJ, how you doing? Who have I missed? Let me see. Hi, Reba. Steve, how you doing? David, how you doing? That's right. That's right. We're going to see more and more people putting out, from the black community, putting out these TikToks and these. The thing is I'm so glad to see videos coming out that aren't full. People get mad. They use, some pretty strong language. And as you all know, I don't like playing that on my videos, even though I will slip up and say some wordy dirt sometimes. It's not inculcated in my lexicon to talk in a filthy manner, but I will cuss them. I will cuss some of these rascals and rouseabouts and troublemakers. I will. But anyway, I didn't get this clip. It's a short clip where Citizen Free Press, but Biden's illegals in Brooklyn go door to door begging for money. And the clip is pretty much this guy on the left-hand side saying he's the one answering the door there. He put his coat on and came out and talked to a reporter. They didn't show anybody actually doing it. They just had a still photo of a lady going around begging for money. Let me tell you something. It's going to go from asking to taking, okay? And I'm sure most of the people in Brooklyn know when you open the door, those eyeballs are going around your living room. Let me see where he's got a watch on top of that table over there. He's got a set of keys and some change in that bowl. Their eyeballs are going to be moving around the room. But they're being dumped off in places, and they didn't pack a lunch. I've been over that many times. So anyway, Mr. T put up this from Newt Gingrich. Now, they had an article come up on my notifications that said Newt Gingrich said the idea of insurrection is not meant for modern times, or something like that. A total distortion of what Newt Gingrich said. That's like Trump said, there's misinformation and there's disinformation, a very slight difference between the two. He would explain it to us someday. I think that has a lot to do with what kind of retribution we're going to be expecting from certain people, okay? But anyway, Newt Gingrich said Colorado's on the verge of becoming a new Venezuela. 4 lawyers have decided that their views, he didn't call them judges or justices, 4 lawyers. Their views outweigh the 1,364,000 Coloradans who voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Keeping a political opponent from even running is the behavior of dictatorship, not a democracy. Coloradans should demand these 4 partisan destroyers of democracy be removed from office. That's what I said. Either move them out for stupidity, okay? They're too stupid to have the chair, or they are purposefully and knowingly subverting our rule of law. So there were 341,000 voters for Trump for each self-appointed freedom killer. They should not be allowed to pretend they are judges. They replace the rule of law with the rule of power. Welcome to Venezuela or Cuba or Nicaragua. And we had somebody from the other side visit us a couple of days ago, and I discussed the fact that you can't do this to any citizen. Just because people don't like Trump does not mean that he doesn't get a trial, that he doesn't get a jury, that he suffers punishments for something he has not even been charged with. Okay? The notions of politicians and media are not a lawful charge. Okay? And even if he were charged, he is supposed to have due process. That is something anybody over 12 years old or with the mentality above the age of a 12-year-old should unreservedly understand, no matter what they think about Trump, you know? And for whatever reason, people that don't like Trump, tough, as the Russians say, and I won't cuss too much, as the Russians say, tough shitsky. If you don't like Trump, we do. He's going in. You're going to look like an idiot if you don't support him. You're going to look like an anti-American, gun-grabbing, I want to say something about the children, okay? Somebody that doesn't care, I'll put it that way, about the psychology of young people, all right? You're going to look like a weirdo and a freak. I guess that's about the nicest way I can put it. So if you want to be on the side of weirdos and freaks, go right ahead, and criminals, go right ahead and do it. Speaking of Russia, here is Putin. Probably across the pond, on the other side of the pond, probably the most stable world leader out of the whole damn bunch. And I'm talking about Britain, France, Italy, New Zealand, on down the line, okay? You don't like him because the media told you not to like him. He's leagues and oceans better than Stalin, Brezhnev. I went all through that last night. Go back and listen to my prior broadcasts. He's not perfect, but he's way better than what we had to face after during and after World War II. And but anyway, he'll lay it out here what's going on in Ukraine.
The Ukrainian economy cannot exist without external support. the budget of Ukraine is balanced, the macroeconomic indicators are more or less even. But what helped them do that? It is all thanks to the multi-billion aid. 4 or 5 billion comes every month in loans, grants, and assistance coming to Ukraine. As soon as they stop that, snap, and it all goes down. Everything. The same goes for their defense system. If they stop the assistance, Ukraine would only have 1 week left when they run out of ammunition.
Yeah, militarily, 1 week. If when the aid stops, they've got about a week. And never mind that, their whole economy has been running on $5 billion. You heard it, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. They don't have any internal way to keep their economy going. And without what's been going on, the billions and billions and billions of dollars, it's going to be a failed state. It's just a fact of life. Now, I want to make sure I get these videos. Here we go. Here's one. Breaking news, breaking news. What's the big breaking news? This is how they put out the, I think this is how they put out the rejection by the Supreme Court of Jerk Smith, his request for expedited hearing before the Supreme Court. And I had one letter that Trump posted that I have to find in my studio, but I can paraphrase it good enough, where Trump's attorney said, for what they're asking, expedited judicial examination is the worst thing you could do. If anything, this kind of novel attack on the 45th president or any other political candidate, this kind of novel attack needs more examination. Don't skip over the Court of Appeals and go straight to the Supreme Court for a rushed decision. If anything, this needs more scrutiny than anything else right now. But I feel the undercurrent is to put it before this appellate court so we can identify more creepos, losers, morons, and Marxists. Okay? So let me go ahead and play this little report here.
All right, let's get to that breaking news, everybody. We have got this. It's from the Supreme Court, where special counsel Jack Smith's request to immediately settle Donald Trump's immunity claim in the election interference probe, it has been denied, essentially shuttling that which Jack Smith wanted, the fast track, if you will, to decide presidential immunity. Donald Trump, of course, has asked the Supreme Court to take this case up as well. So there's a lot to get to right now because the interpretation of this could greatly sideline upcoming cases and potentially affect the 2024 election. Joining us now, we have NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian, and back with us, former U.S. Attorney and MSNBC legal analyst Barbara McQuaid. Okay, let's go first to you, Barbara. What's your interpretation of this? How much does this set back Jack Smith?
Yeah, this is definitely a setback for Jack Smith, who had hoped to leapfrog the Court of Appeals and go straight to the Supreme Court. Instead, he will have to first litigate this matter in the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, in the meantime, since he filed this request with the Supreme Court, the D.C. Circuit has said they would hear the question on an expedited basis. They have set oral argument in the case for January 9th. If they decide fairly quickly, then we could be back at the Supreme Court maybe within a month or so, if the court acts quickly. Or it could be that they take their time and we don't decide the case until June, in which case the trial will be delayed by that amount. So I think the March 4th trial date, either way you slice it, is in some trouble now. That doesn't mean it can't be tried before the election, but I think we're looking more at a summer trial instead of a spring trial.
Okay, she said a summer trial instead of a spring trial. No leapfrogging over the D.C. Court of Appeals. I think that, as I said, that is more to root out and identify people who should not be sitting on that bench. And that's why they're going to get this hot potato. It's not just to give Jack a smack in the face. It's to put that hot potato right in front of those justices so they can expose themselves just like the liberal Marxists in Colorado, so we'll know who needs to be removed when the time comes. Remember, Abraham Lincoln, he cleaned out a lot of state houses and a lot of Senate houses and shut down over 200 newspapers. Okay? And, for the sake of not getting on the wrong side of the rhythm, he right there on the Capitol grounds, okay, was where they had a platform, okay, with a beam and a trapdoor. So right there on the Capitol grounds, folks. Now, I don't know how that's going to go in this situation, how much of that's going to happen, but some of it is going to happen because we cannot let this happen again. Now, I want to make sure I don't leave any videos behind. What's this one here? Did I play this yet? No, I haven't. Let's see what this person has to say. Now, this lady here, just a short aside, I said about a year ago, they told her she had to start smiling because she would tell the liberal side and she would be a commentator for liberals, and she could not smile. She always looked like she just smelled somebody's socks. And they've told her I'm pretty sure they told her to start smiling, and I think her face broke. Okay. But she's still trying to smile. But she probably went from, like the age of 4 to adulthood and just kept that look, wrinkled nose look. But anyway, let me go ahead and play this video and see what they're going to say.
We'll start with you. You take a look at this map here. This is not just a Colorado issue. I mean, you've got about a dozen other states that are considering this. What's the political fallout from this, either in the Republican Party and then the larger issue in the general election? Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just stopping this real quick to take a look at this map before they get rid of it. I can't imagine Texas would take him off the ballot. West Virginia is very conservative. Joe Manchin, he's resigning. He's not going to run again. South Carolina, I can't imagine that their political system is that corrupted. And the others, who knows? Virginia is a Siamese twin of the magical kingdom, which is D.C., and Oregon, they're full of nutcases. But anyway, this is a breakdown of who's trying to take Trump off the ballot. And I hope that every single one of them get the opportunity to put their Supreme Courts to the test so we can weed them out when this is all over with.
And thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You're right. I mean, there's a number of other states that are looking at this. This isn't just an isolated incident here. Legally, I think it's very interesting here because Donald Trump is not in any of the indictments, the 4 indictments, has not been charged with inciting insurrection. He was actually cleared of that charge in the second impeachment. The Senate acquitted him on that. So that's number one. Number two, I think it's interesting that, if you look at the 14th Amendment, Section 3, it's talking about Confederate soldiers who were essentially, betrayed the United States and committed treason, barring them from office. I think it's a laughable comparison. Politically here, you would think Democrats learned their lesson here. They've indicted him 4 times. Every time he's went up in the polls. And we're not just talking about in the primary where he's up, 50 or 60 points in recent Fox News polling. We're talking about the general election. He's up 5 in a recent Fox News poll against Joe Biden. He's up 4 in a recent CNBC poll. Same thing in New York Times. He's up 2 points. He's also chipping away at Joe Biden's coalition, whether it's Hispanic voters, he's winning with them for the first time. Young voters, he's winning with them for the first time as well. And even African-American voters, it's historic for a Republican candidate to be polling in modern history 20% of the vote there.
Yeah, that's stuff they don't want to hear. A lot of young people are getting on board with DJT. They don't like the way things are going. A lot of minorities. So anyway, I hope it is an operation to expose and put these judges on the hot seat. So let me look through here and see what else we got. Oh, this is awful right here, but I got to put it up. It's sad. But the reason I got a screenshot of this was to show you how CNN soft pedals things. They soft pedal it. And Citizens Free Press put in their headline the truth. And you know how it goes on this site. You have to be careful when you say the truth. American-Israeli hostage Gadi Hagay, 73, is confirmed Killed in Gaza. Okay, that used the K word, right? Which is what happened to her. The ceasefire broke down, whatever, finger pointing, whatever. They put kidnapped Israeli hostage dies in Gaza. Well, that is a half-truth. A half-truth. And Benjamin Franklin said, the greatest lies are half-truths. She was red-rummed, okay? And that's the way they should put it up there. Hi, Outlandish. How are you doing? Steve said, sorry. Oh, I think I know what's going on there, Steve. Oh, yeah. P3DO from now on. Okay. Mary Jesus to all. That's right. There are gallows for a reason. Well, we haven't been using them. And also remember, Bill Barr, on his way out, expanded the methods of X3 accusations. X3 accusations on his way out the door and opened up the door for federal X3 accusations, okay? Now I'm putting this up. This is a letter from Jim Jordan to Jack Smith's office, okay? Where they're talking about the politicization of this so-called investigation, all right? This is off True Social. Mr. T posted it if you want it. Congress of the United States, House of Representatives, Committee of the Judiciary, Jack Smith. The committee is continuing its oversight of the Biden Justice Department commitment to impartial justice. Okay, but the point here, you guys can pull it up and read it all, but the point here is that they're, quote, requesting all documents and communications among the Office of Special Counsel, Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General relating to the investigation prosecution of Trump. Okay, well, they want to know the salaries for each office because the question has come up if his appointment was even lawful. Okay, who controls the purse strings? Who controls the budget? House of Representatives, travel costs incurred, trips taken by each office of special counsel member. Did anybody go to some island somewhere and have fun on our dime investigating Trump? I will see. All staff members as it relates to the investigation and the organizational structure of the Office of Special Counsel. They all want job postings, solicitations. I mean, they're digging down. They're boring down into this. The people need to know what they're doing, along with their abuse of our rights and their attempts to deny us of our right to vote for who we want to, a lawful candidate. We want to find out how they're, peeing our money away. So communications between the Office of Special Counsel and prospective employees, kind of like, Viva President G, I hate Trump. Viva Che Guevara. All documents and communications related to the warrant by telephone or other reliable electronic means in a matter of the search of information that is stored at premises controlled by Twitter. Want to know how they're infiltrating Twitter. And I was going to put this in my thumbnail. The Committee on the Judiciary has jurisdiction to oversee the activities of the Justice Department pursuant to Rule X. I was going to put Rule X of the rules of the House of Representatives. So we're going to remember Rule X. And Jack, if he doesn't know what Rule X stands for, he's going to find out. And let's see, make sure I got these. Here we go. Here is a boomerang from the New York Times. They used to call the Gray Lady, okay? They think this is good for them, right? Judge gives prosecutors access to GOP lawmakers' messages in January 6 case. Oh, yeah, we're going to catch all the GOP lawmakers who participated in the, well, we can't really legally call it an insurrection, but we will anyway. Insurrection! The roughly 1,700 messages are from the cell phone of Representative Scott Perry, who was involved in discussions with Trump administration officials about overturning the election. Well, they set a precedent, okay, where if you can go through their messages, the GOP messages, just like Trump said, I didn't get a screenshot of it, but he said for Biden to immediately stop all these phony cases and prosecutions against him because he's setting a very dangerous precedent. That's the terminology Mr. T used, a dangerous precedent. Yeah, that's what we got on the screen now. So let me see. Gary's got a boom in there. That's right. We don't want any sympathy for these creeps. We're going to have people want to see justice being meted out. And I keep repeating, and I'll repeat it again. Meting out justice is not an option. It is a duty. It's part of your duty as a sworn officer, okay? You can't let them off the hook. So, this is one of the longest broadcasts I've ever done. I've got a bunch of stuff that I guess I'll save. Unless I go live, I might go live over the weekend if conditions will dictate. Events will dictate. What's this? Right here. I don't know if this is going to break up or not. But clearly, things are not going the way Biden wants. Very clearly, because this is what he said yesterday. Let me see if hold on. I got to get that mic to cut off.
Certainly they're self-evident. You saw it all. Now, whether the 14th Amendment applies, I'll let the court make that decision. But he certainly supported an insurrection. There's no question about it. None. Zero. And he seems to be doubling down on about everything. Anyway.
No question he participated in an insurrection. None. Zero. Well, I see people saying good night. Let's see. That's right, God wins. Mikey didn't like cereal. Mikey didn't like cereal. What's that got to do with anything? Anyway, I got one more video I'm going to play for y'all on the way out. Okay, it's a funny video. And I want to thank you, Gary, for helping sponsor tonight's program big time. I thank you, and Sadie thanks you. Anybody that wants to help the channel out, I've got a Buy Me a Coffee. You go to Buy Me a Coffee and type in Mountainman, and Nikki also puts links in the description to make it easy for people, especially if you tune in after the broadcast and you're watching the chats, you'll see the link. So I'm going to close out with this funny video here. And at the end, I might put up my Putin video. It's something I like to close out with sometimes, folks. So anyway, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. We're in a long time tonight, but there's a lot going on. And like I said, I might broadcast this weekend depending on conditions. If not, I will see you all after Christmas. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. And I know you remember the reason for the season, and that should lift everybody's spirits. So we'll go out on this video. I'll be talking to you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Someone kidnapped Molly!
Corn Pop.
Who's Corn Pop?
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Who's gonna stop him?
I'm the best qualified people for this job.
Tex, you can't go after Corn Pop. He's killed dozens of men.
$1 billion worth. Excuse me. $1,400,000,000,000,000. $1,400,000,000,740,000,000,000,000. 200 million people have died. Probably by the time I finish this talk.
That can't be right.
We choose truth over facts.
Whatever. My point is, it's too dangerous. Why do you care so much about stopping Corn Pop?
He poses an existential threat. He's been stroking violence in our cities. We were in high school. I would take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Well, don't go alone. At least take Black Pete with you.
The great Negro of the time.
Thanks. But please don't say it like that.
He looks like LLJ Cool J. Always got bigger biceps than my thighs.
Don't call him boy.
I'll help you capture Corn Pop. But I heard he's in Indian territory.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
No, not that type of Indian. And for Black Pete, they don't say it like that.
So you think you can stop me just because you teamed up with this kid?
Look, Fat, poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Hey, don't say it like that.
Now hand over Molly.
Oh, I would love to hear, but I do not know what happened to Molly.
You're a lion dog-faced pony soldier.
What? I don't know what that means. You know what that means?
You me.
So, Tex, you got anything you want to say before I kill you? This is the appropriate place to make the speech I'm about to make.
Yeah, sure, whatever, just go for it.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women created by God, you know the thing. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. The kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down straight and watch the hair come back up again. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping in my lap. And I love kids jumping in my lap.
Does anybody have any idea what he's talking about?
So you go ahead. You stack spaghetti sauce in a store. And you control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift.
What the heck are you talking about, Tex?
Tune in Fire Pressure!
Malarkey, coming soon to one theater in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
You want to play this? Okay. Have a nice one. Come on. Okay. Do you want to play rough? Okay. Say hello to my little friend.